The 80s and 90s weren't just about what we wore or what we listened to. They were about how we moved. The rides that carried us to school, to road trips, to concerts, or even just to our dreams. Some were fast, some were huge, some were everyday and ordinary. But all of them had one thing in common. They left memories that never left us. Today on Nostalgia Roads, we're looking back at 20 iconic rides of 80s and 90s America. Cars, bikes, planes, trains, and everything in between. 1. The DeLorean DMC-12 stainless steel body, gull-wing doors, and a look that made you believe in the future. The DeLorean wasn't just a car, it was a time machine for our imagination. 2. Harley-Davidson Electra Glide. If freedom had a sound, it was the low rumble of a Harley on the highway. Leather jackets, chrome shining in the sun. This wasn't just a bike, it was rebellion on two wheels. 3. Boeing 747. The Queen of the Skies. For many Americans, their first trip overseas was on a jumbo jet with a hump on its back. The 747 carried families, dreams, and postcards home, and it became an icon of air travel. 4. Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, KITT. Every kid of the 80s remembers Knight Rider, a black Trans Am with a red scanner light. It wasn't just a car, it was a friend, a hero, a superstar on four wheels. 5. Greyhound Bus. It wasn't glamorous, but it was America's lifeline. College kids heading home, families moving cross-country, dreamers chasing opportunity, the Greyhound bus was part of everyone's story. 6. Ferrari Testarossa Wide, loud and fiery red. The Ferrari Testarossa was the car of Miami Vice, posters, and pure 80s excess. It wasn't just a ride, it was a fantasy parked on bedroom walls. 7. Kawasaki Ninja ZX-7. Bright green and impossibly fast, the Ninja looked like it was built for superheroes. On highways and in magazines, it made every rider dream of speed. 8. Amtrak Superliner. 2 floors, wide windows, and the sound of rails humming across plains. Amtrak Superliners made long train journeys feel like adventures, especially for kids peeking out of the top deck. 9. Dodge Viper, early 90s. A car that looked more like a weapon. No roof, side pipes, a hood longer than your couch. The Viper was raw power, the dream of every 90s car lover. 10. Carnival Cruise Ship, fantasy class. In the 90s, cruising wasn't just for the rich anymore. Families lined up for buffets, water slides, and ocean sunsets. A Carnival cruise felt like a floating theme park. 11. Suzuki GSXR 750. The Gixxer was a race bike you could ride to the store. Fast, light, and dangerous, it gave birth to the sport bike craze that defined the late 80s. 12. Yellow School Bus. The sound of brakes squealing, kids yelling, and backpacks bouncing. The yellow school bus wasn't glamorous, but for millions of kids it was the first ride they ever knew by heart. 13. Lamborghini Countach. Wild angles, scissor doors, posters taped to bedroom walls. The Countach was the definition of supercar for a whole generation. 14. McDonnell Douglas DC-10. Its 3 engines and wide body carried families to Disney vacations and business travelers across the country. For many, the DC-10 was the face of air travel in the 80s. 15. Honda CB 750/Nighthawk. Not flashy, but reliable. This was the bike you saw everywhere, at gas stations, diners, and on back roads. It was a friend to riders, steady and dependable. 16. Buick GNX 1987. It looked plain, but it was a monster. Turbocharged and faster than many exotics, the GNX was a quiet legend, the kind of car only true gearheads knew. 17. Queen Elizabeth II QE2. Sailing with grace across the Atlantic, the QE2 was one of the last great luxury liners. For Americans, stepping aboard was like stepping into another era. 18. Chevrolet Camaro, IROC ZID. It was brash, bold, and pure 80s. T-tops off, stereo loud, stripes shining. The IROCZ was the car you showed off at the mall parking lot. 19. Concorde. Need to get to London in under 3 hours? The Concorde made it possible. It was the supersonic dream jet that felt like science fiction in real life. 20. Jeep Grand Cherokee, ZJ. When it rolled out in 1993, it drove through a glass wall at its launch. And just like that, SUVs became the family car of the future. The Cherokee started a craze that hasn't stopped. Outro. These weren't just machines, they were memories. From school buses to supercars, Harleys to jumbo jets, cruise ships to Concorde flights, each ride carried a piece of our lives. They remind us of a time when the road trip was an adventure, when the skies still felt magical, and when stepping onto a school bus could feel like the start of a journey. Which of these did you ride, dream about, or only see in posters? Share your story in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again on Nostalgia Roads, where every mile is a memory.